Dear children, in this video, I will begin with History, Chapter 3, in the earliest cities. This chapter describes the story of the Harappan civilization and Harappan cities. Topics that will be explained in this video are the story of Harappa, what was special about these cities, houses, drains and streets, life in the city, and new crafts in the city. First topic is the story of Harappa. Harappa was one of the oldest cities in the subcontinent. Harappa was discovered accidentally while the famous East India Company was working on the construction of railways in the year 1856. Initially, the workers thought it to be the ruins of an ordinary ruined city and started using the bricks for the construction works. About 80 years ago, the archaeologists realized that it was not one of the ordinary ruins and started to explore the remains. Next topic is what was special about these cities. Many of these cities were divided into two or more parts. The part to the west, which was smaller but higher, was called the citadel, and the part to the east was larger but lower, was called the lower town. The walls of baked bricks were built around each part. The bricks were laid in an interlocking pattern and that made the walls strong. In some cities, special buildings were constructed on the citadel. For example, in Mohenjo-daro, a special tank was built called the Great Bath. Other cities like Kalibangan and Lothal had fire altars where sacrifices may have been performed. Cities like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and Lothal had elaborate storehouses. The Great Bath. In some cities, special buildings were constructed on the citadel. For example, in Mohenjo-daro, a very special tank called the Great Bath was built. This was lined with bricks, coated with plaster, and made watertight with the layers of natural tar. There were steps leading down to it from two sides, while there were rooms on all sides. Perhaps important people took a dip in this tank on special occasions. Houses, drains, and streets. Houses were either 1 or 2 stories high, with room built around a courtyard. Most houses had a separate bathing area, and some had wells to supply water. Many cities had covered drains. Each drain had a gentle slope so that water could flow through it. Drains in houses were connected to streets and smaller drains, which ultimately led into bigger ones. All three, houses, drains, and streets, were probably planned and built at the same time. Next topic is life in the city. Harappan city was a very busy place. Rulers were the people who planned the construction of special buildings in the city. Scribes were the people who knew how to write and help in preparing the seals. There were men and women, craft persons who used to make all kinds of things. People were traveling to distant lands or returning with raw material. Many terracotta toys have been found in Harappan cities, which shows that children must have played with these. Next topic is new crafts in the city. Most of the objects that were made and found in Harappan cities were of stone, shell, and metal, including copper, bronze, gold, and silver. Copper and bronze were used to make tools, weapons, ornaments, and vessels. Gold and silver were used to make ornaments and vessels. The Harappans made seals out of stone, which were rectangular in shape and have an animal carved on them. The Harappans also made pots with the beautiful black designs. Cotton was grown at Mehergarh about 7,000 years ago. Actual pieces of cotton were found attached to the lid of a silver vessel and some copper objects at Mohenjo-daro. Many of the things that were produced at Harappa were probably the work of specialists.